Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to The Hunter and the Beast, where, to be perfectly honest, I'm feeling more excited about our prospects than I have in a fair number of episodes. Not to say that I think things are necessarily going super well, but I think things are going to be interesting, at the very least, for the next little bit here. So what do we need to do on this turn? Well, first of all, we have a skill point. Probably we ought to spend the skill point. So it's yellow line stuff, right? Let's see, 10% melee defense and 10% missile resistance for the Lord. Not as good as the other stuff we've seen in the box. This just seems incredibly powerful. This is like all of the stuff that I like, all in one skill. Upkeep down, melee attack up, and missile damage up for our shooter units. It's interesting that the melee attack only affects huntsmen and not archers. I've not looked at the melee stats on them too closely. Maybe hunters are like kind of okay, or huntsmen rather, are kind of okay melee fighters. I mean, I'm sure they're not great, but that's an interesting idea. Double shot ammunition for the huntsman with a reload time reduction just for the Lord, I think. It doesn't have the Lord's army tag on it. In any case, seems very, very good. And telescopic aim. Ooh, enables sundering attacks. That means that when Marcus attacks things, he will destroy some of their armor, so then making them more vulnerable to future attack. That's very powerful for stuff like monster fighting. A single sundering unit shooting at a heavily armored monster can make it so vulnerable to a bunch of archers. I think we're going to start with Master Survivalist. Sleight of Hand seems incredibly powerful, but we don't yet have any huntsmen, so this seems like the thing to take for now. Extra movement and 10% more replenishment is crazy. Also, Dwarf Guy. Dwarf Guy gets a level. Obviously, we take this. Another 5% missile damage for every missile unit in the army. This is a strange composition. We're in kind of a weird place, for sure. So we got to talk about our secondary army. Right now, we're not making a ton of money per turn, and we're in a place where we're going to get Imperial supplies next turn, and then we might not actually be able to afford to run them, like upkeep-wise. And obviously, some things are going to get a little bit better once we start negotiating trade agreements with the elves and everything, but I'm wondering if maybe we should cut recruitment short here. My thinking was that we would take Valmir Helborg up to like half a stack, and then have him sit in the Temple of Tlenkan, and his 10 units plus the, 14? Plus the 18 apparently that the temple has with the garrison building would be enough to make it so that at least if the lizardmen want to take it, they have to like devote some real force to it. But now I'm wondering if maybe what we should do is cut all of this recruitment, not spend any more money, and have Valmir go out and just get ocean points of interest. There's still money to be had out here. Probably not this one because it's kind of out of the way. And have him end up over here at Grey Rock with us. Maybe that's the right move. So there are 2 full provinces of stuff available here north of Hexawaddle. And then obviously we're going to have to fight lizardmen again. But by then we can have some kind of economic base reestablished. Oh, you know what? Looking at the corruption numbers here, I wonder if these are, in fact, Skaven territories. So what do we want to do here? It's already going to take them a while to attack the temple. I mean, obviously, it would be cool to not lose this stuff if we don't have to. Because I would love to keep the Huntsman recruitment building alive. I'd love to keep the economic buildings alive. The question is just, do I think that half a stack sitting in the Temple of Tlenkan will hold off enemies? Well, we'll keep the lizardmen back enough to justify the cost that we're paying for it. I think the answer is maybe. Yeah, I'll tell you what. We're going to cancel all these recruitments, get all this money back. I'm just going to have them move over to the temple right now, since there's no lizardmen in sight and everything. We are not going to do those upgrades. We need to save for the moment, I think. Here, do I want to bother with this? 6 turns until the next population surplus. but upgrading the fields only gives us an extra 10 growth. So that would cut... if we need 340, 70 growth gets us there in 5 turns instead of 6, except it takes 2 turns to build this, so it would cut off a single turn if, like, at most. I don't think it's worth spending the money on it.
Fearless.
The 20 points of growth that were like a 50% increase in the overall growth of the area, I think totally were worthwhile, though.
Seek out the heretics.
Alright, let's go see if we can figure out exactly where this vampire pirate army actually is.
Where heretics lurk.
Yeah, it's a great question, Herdvig. I'm hoping this is where the heretics lurk. Actually, we do not see the heretics. They must be over at Sulfuret's. She does have an army right now, right? Yeah, she totally does. It's not as strong as my army, but it exists. And then over here, we need to raid vampire territory, right? Sorry about this. I know that I just looked at these at the end of the last episode. Okay, yeah, we need to raid some vampire territory. Okay, well, let's go raid some vampire territory then. Or do we want to go grab that? I mean, yes, the answer to that question is that I want to do both of those things. Why don't we turn off taxation here for a second? It's not a tremendous amount of money lost. And I want to try to delay the inevitable rebellion, and obviously we'll get it under control. But we're going to have to fight at least one rebel army here, possibly even more than that. It's not going to be great.
On the hunt.
And then, we're going to have to deal with attrition. Is a concern. Here, let's put ourselves in march mode and just get right into the water. So moving across this highly vampirically corrupted territory is not necessarily bad for us in itself. If we stop in the territory, if we end our turn, we'll take attrition damage between turns, and it will be annoying more than anything else. Minus 21 public order without the army in place to spook the rebels. We're going to have to grab this, come back, raid, and then run over here really quickly. Honestly, I'm not even sure we'll have time for all of it. Alright, let's get those reinforcements. Oh, does he want peace? He absolutely does. See, this stuff is, it's taking effect already. But you can see how our opinion, his opinion of us, has to inch up over time. We're going to meet some new elf factions here, and hopefully their feelings about us are going to start right up at the current level of our reputation. Which means that we will trivially get all of the trade agreements, and the trade agreements will not be very valuable, unfortunately, because we have no trade goods. She also wants peace. I think this would be a bad idea. I think we should maintain the pressure here. If we can wipe her out, and the Dark Elves are busy doing other stuff for a while, this affords us an opportunity to not just solidify, but also attack Hexawatl at their heart, rather than having to fight northward through all of their garbage to eventually get to Hexawatl. And look at that, Hexawatl has a gold mine. Ooh. There's some real combat going on over here now. Oh, hey, I forgot that we were supposed to do this. We did, in fact, build a barracks. We maxed out the basic recruitment thing. Okay, so, what do we want? We have advanced reinforcements now, a better quality and quantity, apparently, of reinforcements. So 3 halberds, 3 huntsmen, and a greatsword, actually very good. 2 Reichsguard and a Demigryph Knight. Reichsguard are just normal cavalry, like knight units. Demigryph Knights are a lot more badass. A Great Cannon, 2 Grenade Launcher Outriders, and a Hellstorm Rocket Battery. Man, I love rocket batteries. Or... well, okay, that's the one we're doing then. 2 War Wagons with mortars and a Steam Tank. Steam Tanks are so powerful. Yeah, we can't... as much as I would love to have the Hellstorm Rocket Battery, and I really would love to have a Hellstorm Rocket Battery, we can't turn down an offer of a Steam Tank on turn 50. That's just... that's too good. A Beastmen horde has been rampaging across the Empire States, attacking villages and mercilessly slaughtering innocent inhabitants. Such events are not necessarily unusual, but you also found out that those lucky enough to survive the raids had heard its leading Gorbel say that he is searching for you, the Hunts Marshal, and even grunting in quasi-understandable Reichsspiel to interrogate his unfortunate victims as to your whereabouts. Well, that seems real bad. Though the Beastmen generally need very little reason to spill the blood of men, it is entirely possible that at some point in the past you had slain one of this Gorbel's kin, so it is seeking revenge against you. Okay, well, we could send some funds back home. I'm not too concerned about that. We probably aren't going to be doing a ton of recruiting in the next few turns. I mean, obviously, we do want to fill up that secondary stack a little bit, but we can't go too deep on it because we just don't have the money. We could increase favor with Hochland, which I think we've done once already. I'm still not 100% clear on what we're going to get from continuing to support one state, or how many times we have to do it before we start to see that stuff. But instantly increase hostility level, actually pretty good. And we could increase favor with Wissenland by lowering the income from our ports by 10%. So that's like 15 gold per turn per port, which is not really a penalty. And also, we have worked for these guys a couple of times. I think let's send some relief funds back home.
You still live, Jacob?
Demands that New World funds be diverted to the cause. Absolutely. I guess this is part of the benefit of the ports being way less effective for us, is that we don't care so much when they get diverted. Yeah, that lowered our income by 20 gold. Recruit a hero to gain 500 gold. And Karl von Zanger has his sea legs. And also, we were handed some handgunners and a unit of halberds. I was kind of hoping that the additional supplies would mean we got to pick twice off the list, but I guess they just give you whatever for the second group. Still, pretty good. Pretty extremely good, really. Alright, show me something cool. And a big pile of money is still cool. Shipwrecks. I think this is probably a good time to go. Your army will perform better in battle. We're probably going to be fighting some vampire pirates pretty soon. We got ourselves some ensorcelled blades. I'm assuming that this just refreshed the duration of this buff rather than adding another instance of it. And a berserker sword, which honestly is not very good. I am not impressed by the reward there.
Marcus Wolfhart.
Alright, let's get back onto Vampire Land. We're going to end the turn with no movement, so sadly we are just going to stand here and absorb some damage. But then we'll raid a little bit. Hold on. The race Vampire Coast is a group of factions that includes the Drowned, so that'll work. Oh. And they have their Ghostly Paladin. This guy is a real terror in battle. I'm happy to see him not attached to an army. Can you kill a ghost? You think that's a thing you could pull off? It looks pretty likely, actually, that he will kill this ghost. Go to.
Tools of judgment ready.
A successful assassination. I mean, you know, it's not going to stick. If the drowning didn't stick, I'm sure whatever Herdvig did is also temporary. But still, getting that thing off the table is absolutely useful. I'm going to have him start gaining points of Cleanse Corruption. So let's talk a little bit about how corruption works. You can see each region has a series of corruption values. There are 4 types of corruption: Skaven, Vampiric, Chaos, and Untainted. The corruption value is expressed as a percentage. It just, like you can see here, there are 5 points of Vampiric corruption. That's 25% of the total corruption in this region. There's 9 points of Untainted and 6 points of Chaos from various things. And each army, each faction, has a preferred corruption type. And if the corruption of an area is greater than like 30%, or even it looks like 30% must be bad enough because we're suffering here. If it's greater than like 30 or 40%, a type other than your favored type, then you start to see consequences, like your units taking constant damage. There'll be, you can see here, vampiric corruption is causing +5 public order, and a lack of corruption is causing -10 because this settlement really wants to be vampirically corrupted. So it has effects on like the settlements and stuff as well. Alright, Andreas, can you get far enough over here to actually meet somebody? There is a settlement down here. Yeah, there we go. Val's Anvil. So Yeah, look at that. Their total attitude value with us is 55. So by getting the 50 points of relationship, or the 50 points of reputation before we met them, we skipped that slow process of that number increasing.
Words and deeds will be watched with interest.
Sadly, they don't have a... It looks like they don't have a port. We can't get a trade agreement with them, but I would love to just establish some positive modifiers. Cool. I'm not going to go defensive alliance, even though we might be able to get it, just because I don't know for sure what the diplomatic situation over here is, and I don't want to, like, get a defensive alliance with an elf faction that is on the outs with the Phoenix King, and then have them get attacked by the elves, and have it become a whole issue for us. So let's wait on that until we know a little bit better. Hold on a second. Did that introduce us to any other elves? It did. Sometimes when you meet a faction, you get like introduced to other factions that they know. Apparently we know Avalorn somehow. Well, Avalorn has a dock. Could we please trade? And also military access? I mean, at this point, 85 gold per turn for me is something like absolutely worthwhile. This number will go up as we get access to more trade goods. Like you can see, they have a few trade goods and they're already at 651.
The time is now.
And we know where to get some. Like the settlement we're in right now has some. Oh, actually, the Order of Loremasters have a functional dock. Could we maybe start trading? Okay, could we do one of those things? How about just the trade agreement? Oh, okay, that's the one I cared about anyway. Alright, we're securing income. Does anybody else look like they might be willing to trade with me? Honestly, we might be able to get a trade agreement with Clan Scryer, but we should not make friends with the Skaven if we don't have to. Non-Skaven people have a tendency to look down on such a relationship. Okay, and we'll meet more elves as Nussbaum sails deeper in here. So let's talk about back home. The Temple of Kara is still host to a pretty large orc army. We now have the Huntsman thing. We got to figure out what we want to do with these units. So I'm assuming that, yeah, that we cannot recruit from our Imperial supplies when we're outside of our territory. Oh, interesting. Hold on a second. These are different units. That's not just a steam tank. That's a particular steam tank called the Emperor's Wrath. What's the story with this thing? I mean, it looks pretty much like a normal steam tank. The steam tanks are terrifying. They always have all those stats. So these guys have... Maybe these are the special units you get? The Knights of Moor, the Karaberg Greatswords. Karaberg is definitely the name of the city, although I don't remember exactly where it is. The Knights of Everlasting Light. I think these guys are specific to a particular province. Yeah, maybe this is what you get. Maybe there's a super specialized unit that is associated with the different provinces. Although none of these names necessarily... Okay, well, Stir River Patrol, that's probably Stirland, right? Yeah, Nordland is definitely an Empire province, an Empire region. Okay, so maybe that's what continued friendship with one area gets you, is access to their special troops. So we get... Oh, man. Yep. Alright, we have to clear some space, and we probably have to be in our own territory. So we'll recruit some of those guys next turn. And then we're going to have to haul ass back to Grey Rock Point, because it's looking like it's going to rebel on us. And that means that we're going to have to... We'll fire some units from this army, we'll get those new units in. Those guys have a higher upkeep cost than the units we have recruited now, because our units now are very bad and cheap. So we might end up in kind of a rough place financially for a little while. We'll figure it out. As we continue to expand our territory up here, it will help a lot. Obviously, we're going to have to successfully do that, and that's going to mean being able to leave Grey Rock Point. You know what? We probably have to just bring that secondary army up to Grey Rock Point to secure it. Yeah, I'm probably just going to have to abandon our southern territory to the vicissitudes of Orc and Lizard. Okay, Tyranox declaring war. So that's High Elves declaring war on Dark Elves. Okay, good work, guys. Way to obliterate that Orc army. And then immediately run back to your territories. You know, who knows? Who knows what's going on with Hexawaddle? Maybe they're distracted down south. They did have an awful lot of enemies running around that one settlement that they have. Maybe they won't be able to attack our stuff. And it seems like the orcs are focused on other things now. Fertility rites. A charismatic soothsayer has impassioned the locals in Chotek with his doctrine of vigorous procreation. While the population is sharply rising, an exhausted workforce is not a productive one. Okay, well, I'll be honest with you. I don't really care about growth down there anymore, so that's kind of a bummer. All right, raiding. Raiding is an army stance. It will generate us some extra income. It will also make the region unhappy, but mostly it will advance the plotline for one of our heroes. Oh, do I have to... I probably have to end the turn in raiding stance, I guess? That's not ideal, because we're really getting close to the line over in Grey Rock.
Huntsman General.
So if we're going to leave, do we want to grab some huntsmen first? Like, grab 3 huntsmen, and then sail north, and we can pass them over? We might end up being out of money. Yeah, let's do it. We'll chill here, we'll recruit huntsmen. If we recruited for 2 turns, we could bring 9 units of huntsmen with us up north. And remember, once the huntsmen are in Marcus's army, they have a much, much lower upkeep cost. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Oh, I don't even have enough money to start all that hiring. Okay, well... Hold on. There we go. This way we can bring 8 units of huntsmen up, because they're a lot more expensive to hire when you bring them in through the global pool. Alright, show me some more elves. Lothern, the High Elf capital, is right here. It is a massive trade hub. We did not get vision of Lothern, but we got close enough to meet the faction at least. Oh, interesting. They are not already leveled up on us. That's weird. Why did it work that way for some factions, but not all of them? Trade agreement is great for them. Oh, it did. That was just a display. I don't know. It just jumped up to 55 now. Whatever. The important thing is, we got the trade agreement. Oh, somehow we became able to see this settlement over here behind the mountains before we saw the one that I believe is literally right here. Like, it totally should be visible. And I've left no money to pay for Herdvig's supplies, so he's just going to hang out right here, I guess. Actually, maybe he should hang out right here. On this side of the line, so that he's contributing his point of untainted corruption. She's actually suffering terribly from public order problems. Like, almost as much as we are.
Fearless.
You may as well move the little bit that you're allowed to move while raiding.
Marcus Wolfhart.
Hey, we're totally in their territory, right? This should count. It probably just has to be the case that you have to start your turn in the raiding stance or something. Yeah, because there we go. That's the quest pop. Van Hall closes in. We can probably read this right now while the other people are taking their turns. You helped Van Hall by plundering several of the Vampire Coast's smuggling encampments and moored galleons along the coast, so the expedition quickly gained the attention of the Pirate King's senior henchman. Alistair the Red still did not reveal himself, however. Yeah, she's going over there to quell the public order issue. After interrogating, stalking, and decapitating several of the vampire admirals sent against the expedition, Herdvig finally obtained the location of his target's hiding place, the Awakening, an old coastal settlement of the dead rumored to be home to the Pirate King himself. The Awakening is not close to us. That's going to be inconvenient for us to get to. I'm assuming that that's what it's about to tell me to do. Yep, capture and occupy the Awakening. And when we do that, he will get, okay, potentially some kind of powerful reward. So we have a campaign objective, right, to get down here and just like sweep through the jungle. We'll see how feasible that ends up being. Oh, our man leveled up. Hell yeah, maxed out Assassinate. What does Sigmar's Will do? Ooh, That's compelling. Oh, actually, he has 2 skill points available, so we'll get them both. Yeah, 3 points of extra untainted is really cool. And then also, a lot of units with... So flaming attacks don't really do a ton by themselves. It like adds a damage type to your attack. But flame is interesting, first of all, because fire wizards, right? We have yet another good reason to hire a fire wizard, which we probably will do soon as we can have 3 wizards at once. And then also, almost all units that have magical regeneration are vulnerable to fire. They take extra damage from fire. Okay, let's see. You have some heroes in your army. I'm definitely going to kill one of them. Well, I'm going to try. So Marty Verdish is a Morngul Haunter, which is a massive melee attack character. What's the composition of this army? So they have some hand grenade dudes, a bloated corpse, some Mornguls. This is a very melee-heavy army. The Gunnery Wight is a hero with a gun. He's okay at using his gun, but one of the most dangerous things about him is how great he is at buffing your other gun units. In this army, I'm not too worried about him. Let's try to kill that Haunter. Oh no, critical failure! He's been wounded in the attempt. Well, he'll respawn in 5 turns. That is a huge disappointment. Man, what were the odds of that? They can't have been very high. There's Lothern. Alright, we're just gonna sail up in the middle here and meet all of the other elf factions. Actually, it looks like Lothern controls a lot of the interior territory. We might not meet anybody new. That, I believe, is a rebel army. That is the Necrarch Brotherhood. I don't think those guys are rebels. I think that's just a vampire army that got in here somehow. Well, I have to imagine... Yeah, this is Tyrion. This is like the guy, the elf guy. He's probably got it under control. Alright, we are about to have a full-fledged rebellion on our hands. Probably a good time to get our asses home. And then we may as well re-enable taxation. If we're going to get the rebellion anyway, we may as well get paid. Ooh, I want the rebellion to happen. We step just outside the city. Yeah, we'll go back into march mode. We'll step just outside. I still want the rebellion to occur. I just want it to occur while my army is close enough to defend the city. And then we need one more turn of recruitment time over here. We are definitely going to be slightly negative on money for... ooh, that's not great considering how little total cash we have. Well, nothing for it now. We'll get some cash by fighting the rebellion army. I'm really disappointed in that critical assassination failure. That's really bad for us. Okay. Okay, Tyrion's just gonna abandon his city to the vampires. That's a weird move. Oh no! Oh, that's so frustrating, because that's gonna stop all of that recruitment. Now this army's just been sitting here doing nothing, basically. God, couldn't they attack me 1 turn later? Well, we're about to be in real dire straits. If the Lizardmen actually are able to attack and take the temple, and I don't know for sure that they will be, but the temple's garrison, expanded though it may be, still probably not up to fighting an army that I'm going to assume is 90% Saurus. The good news is, I think you can usually still get out of a port city that has been sieged. Who are you? They've declared war on me. Were we not at war already? I mean... You're Lizardmen, so we were already going to be at war. They have no army. Tax is a necessity. It's a shame the public doesn't always agree. Oh, it looks like we got paid. Somebody sent us some money. And thank God for that. Treasury minus 1,000 with +4 public order in all provinces? Yeah, actually. Actually, that sounds lovely. Okay, the Rite of Awakening was performed. Oh yes, we had a mission to fight the Wandering Dead, but sadly we will no longer be able to do it because somebody else got there first. We have our thing here, and... Huh. It actually doesn't say where I got my 5,000 gold from. That's weird. Okay. Oh, where I got right, it canceled the recruitment of all the units. Well, we can, in fact, just sail out of the port. Leave the city to its own devices. Oh, this army has a lot of skinks in it. I wonder if we could just win this fight. Because if we can, it's probably better to do that, right? Hold on, we can make this decision later in the turn. Let's do some other stuff first. Missile damage up for the elf.
Marcus Wolfhart.
So now the question, do we attack the vampires right this second? I think I'm inclined to go back into the city, just heal up, let them gather malcontents, you know, let the city gain public order. And we're getting pretty close here to being able to upgrade Grey Rock Point.
Of oblivion.
Andreas can try to go and meet us some new elves. Yeah, it looks like actually the entire interior of this island might be controlled by Avalorn and Lothern.
Voyaging.
What is this? Tor Elisor, I think? No, Illyrian. There sure are a lot of little high elf nations. A lot of factional nonsense. Okay, yeah, it looks like we're probably not going to meet anybody new here, so we can just sail back out. Do you guys... Can we not diplomacy with them? Remarkably, no, we cannot. They do not appear on the list. Oh, but Tyrannok got a port.
Approach and make your request. Of course.
Okay. Even more money. And again, like, the big value of those trade contracts is not coming in yet. We will get to a point where they will be a lot more valuable than they are currently. You know, I wasn't even thinking about it, but we may well have broken Silostra's economy by taking her only port city. Because that probably broke all of her trade contracts. Income from iron and gold mines, we still don't have any of these coming. Probably it's just like... Yeah, reload time down for all of your ranged units. That seems like a great technology. So what do we still need to do? Okay, we still need to raid Lizardmen with Marcus. We have to get to 2 provinces, something we never managed to pull off. We should recruit a hero somewhere. Oh, we do have the ability to recruit a new hero type, don't we? We can't really pay the upkeep on him, though.
Huntsman General.
So do we have Valmir Helborg just sail north and surrender this stuff? If we do that, we're going to lose a fair amount of income when they go down. We're going to have to try to replace that quickly. But we might be able to. Especially if we have more than 1 army worth of units up north. Question is just whether or not we can beat these guys. His army's pretty bad. What is actually in my garrison? A lot of halberds, some spearmen and swordsmen, 2 units of handgunners, 2 units of crossbows, some Empire Knights. Not amazing, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, they should be able to handle a force of skinks. It really comes down to how many of the enemy units are Sauruses. Only 4 of them. So if we actually go through with this attack and we lose the battle, they get control of our city on their turn. We'd basically just be making their lives a lot easier. And we don't have the ranged units that I would like to see here. You can kill a lot of skinks very quickly with ranged fire. The huntsman would definitely help. Sorry about the waffling. I know it's a bit of a habit of mine. If we let them just camp outside the city and set up all of their siege gear, they will win the ensuing battle. It's very likely that they will win the ensuing battle. It's not guaranteed. I think we should just sail north. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking we might win, but we might not. If we did win, we'd probably make a lot of money off of it, which I guess is another argument to go for it. But I think I just want to, I want to get these huntsmen shipped north. I don't know for sure that we'd be able to beat them because Sauruses and stuff. No, let's try. I think we can win. The more I look at it, the more I think red-crested skinks are good at killing, not so good at not being killed. We're going to see if I've just embarrassed myself horribly. And if things go as poorly as they possibly can and we end up losing this battle, it really isn't the end of the world. We're probably just slightly accelerating a thing that was already inevitable. But a win here would be good for us economically, like pretty significantly good for us. And if we drove these guys off, then we could go ahead and recruit some more huntsmen to bring north, which would be worthwhile. Because huntsmen in Marcus's army are going to be really powerful. So you guys, probably what we want to do is just set up way back here. Oh, we have a cliff. Yeah, let's set up on the cliff. I'm just going to go ahead and start deployment. I'm not going to worry about my formation too much because we can't really form until we have our backup anyway. We can do this. Just spread the archers out.
Swordsman! Making ground!
So the range on Arrow of Akshi is... okay, it's long. It's not that long, obviously, but long.
Engage!
Okay, now let's start talking. Now that we actually have our units in here. So we have an Empire Captain, which is a pretty solid melee specialist unit. We have a Fire guy who knows just 2 basic spells. He probably does not have Kindle Flame. Actually, I think we can look. Yeah. If he had Kindle Flame, I think it would be down here. But Bright Wizard, nonetheless. I'm actually unsure whether we want to focus our early magic on the Skinks or the Sauruses. Because the Sauruses are the greater threat, but if we can kill a bunch of Skinks really fast and then be able to surround the Sauruses, that's... it's probably still right to focus it on the Skinks. Or on the Sauruses, just get them off the table. So let's have the gun line set up over here.
Quick march!
Remember, the huntsman units are actually stealthed. So we might be able to trick the enemy by positioning ourselves over here.
Ready for war!
Make them think that the setup of the battle is a little bit different than it is.
Show us the
They don't really have any tough units.
no lingering! Swordsman! For Heldenhammer! No lingering!
We do have a unit of greatswords here as well. Greatswords are very, very powerful anti-infantry infantry.
Send us out!
Super good at killing dudes, especially armored dudes, especially large dudes. No, wait, greatswords are yeah, they're not anti-large, sorry, they're anti-infantry. So you can see a lot of their damage is armor piercing. They have a significant bonus versus infantry.
Captain of the Empire!
Yeah, the captain himself should probably get over here.
Orders! Our steeds are restless!
Get these guys back here.
Halberdiers!
So lots of skinks that way. Aha! They advanced in an unsafe fashion because they did not actually know where my units were. We're doing it. I'm going to shoot the first fireball at these chameleon skinks down here. These guys fire poison projectiles, and they're just super annoying to deal with. If we could not have to deal with a bunch of additional poison, that would be great. Okay, wizard interpreting that order in a pretty creative manner. Alright, just shoot at the sources then. Here's the thing that I'm confident you can do.
Detachments, move!
Didn't I tell some of the halberds to... I could have sworn I told some of the halberds to get over here. I must have thought that, but not actually entered the order. Alright, let's make sure that we are keeping the huntsmen targeting relevant units. So what do we want to work next? I mean, the Sauruses matter a lot, and the huntsmen are actually able to deal with them a little bit. So it's probably the Sauruses. Although also, guard mode, please. And, oh, next time we have Fireball up, I gotta remember, we have oil pots. So we're probably not going to use any of our Huntsmaster General's abilities until Fireball comes back up, because we can oil pot and then do Akshi's Arrow plus Fireball plus imbue our weapons with fire. And we can make a real mess of things for the enemy. Alright, let's have the swords I'll just kind of march forward. We have a weird formation here. Where's my captain? Okay, he's still running over. He needs to take this position up. You gotta back off.
Ready for war. Sigma calls.
What is this? This is just a unit of swords? Get over here.
Lingering.
Get over here in the part of the battle where you might matter.
Our orders? By Ulrich's wrath. To battle.
And we can fan out here and get some damage in. Okay, that's the cooldown. So, what is the area of this? Does it only affect a single enemy unit? Okay, it looks like it only affects a single enemy unit. That being the case, we are definitely doing it on... Those guys are skinks. Where's that? Saurus. That's right, definitely doing it on the enemy Saurus unit. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw a fire cloak up on these guys. It's just somebody, you know. It doesn't much matter who. Let's get the great swords ready to push in on the side here. And honestly, the Empire Captain can pretty much just run in. I don't know that he needs to engage in any real trickery here. And we should probably move the handgunners back. Handgunners, gunpowder units in general have a real problem with positioning on... or with shooting over friendly units, so giving them a little bit higher ground would probably be a good idea. Okay, flanking maneuvers. The crossbows have plenty of targets, although we could... Here, we'll have them also focus on the Saurus warriors. Let's try to burn down this unit as quickly as possible. So they have another unit of Sauruses here, one of them all the way back there for some reason, and where's the fourth one? There were 4, weren't there? Oh, the fourth one's right here. There's 2 of them right next to each other. Okay. Is he actually going to do the thing? Alright, there he goes. That's the oil pot landing.
Hand gunners. Summon fire.
So this is a good time for a big fireball. I apparently pressed the wrong button. Yeah, that's working. That's doing some damage.
Yes, my lord. Hand gunners. Formation. Ah!
Okay, you guys need to get in here.
My goal, Moraz.
I'm trying to issue a waypoint. It's not taken. There we go. I want them to get through and then turn around. Alright, remember, most of these units are not real units and will simply regenerate to full health for free if given the opportunity. So I'm not too worried about what's happening to most of them. Okay, so you guys have a reasonable... You know what? We should have these guys, like, move to here first. Wow, they really don't want to do that in a sensible way. Never mind. Just charge then. We'll deal with that side of the battle later. Okay, so we got skinks breaking. We do have this red-crested skink chief who is actually a pretty solid fighter. I'm wondering if the best way to do this is going to be to go around, or should we try to just run in? I mean, you really want to hit greatswords into the enemy's back, you know?
The Empire endures.
Alright, stats up on these guys who are engaged in just a tremendous amount of combat here.
I am a pyromancer.
Alright, one of the units of Sauruses on this side is just about dead.
On fire. Formation march. Go.
I'm gonna go around the skinks. We're just gonna let the skinks be for the red-crested ones for the moment. We're having at these guys.
The Warhammer.
Chameleon skinks are fast. They are not faster than Empire warhorses. He said with a certainty that he did not feel. I'm not actually certain that that's the case. I'm realizing now after having said it.
You will.
Yeah, not only are we winning, we're kind of winning by a lot. I think I was I'm way too scared of Sauruses. And their red-crested skink chief is really tearing it up here. Let's get our Empire captain directly onto him. Hard to tell which lizard guy is which.
Swordsman! Yes, General! Prepare for combat!
Okay, the great swords have gotten a little bit stuck, unfortunately.
Ready for war!
You guys get over here and help. And that expanded garrison building does get you some really good garrison units in addition to just more. We don't have any like top tier stuff, technologically speaking, in this army, but we have some good things. How are you guys taking so much damage? This should be very easy. These dudes don't wear armor and they only have blowguns as weapons. I mean, we're getting there. Slowly we're getting there. Empire Knights are not actually great at fighting. They're shock cavalry, right? So they're good at charging. Okay, well, I suppose that's the end of that. One more for good measure. Are you gonna... You remember that I gave you an order just now? Alright, shoot it at this guy. One more for good measure. Oh, I think he... Okay, he's actually doing it this time. Oh, never mind. He's too dead to get hit by it. That's a cool looking ability, though. You missed. He's stationary. He's lying on the ground, and you whiffed. I mean, I guess it's quite a distance, and Valmir probably didn't have direct line of sight. That doesn't make it a lot less embarrassing. So like I said at the beginning of the series, I think, Sauruses are generally really, really powerful in auto-resolve. The auto-resolver loves Saurus units. So it's possible that the AI overestimated its position here, because if this battle had been auto-resolved, they probably would have won. There are certain things, after you play a bunch of Total War, you just learn. There are certain things that the auto-resolver really, really likes. It likes artillery units, it likes masses of ranged, it likes Sauruses. And I mean, you saw the balance of power bar had them winning the battle like 40-60, I think. But this is good. This buys us some time. We should get some reasonable cash off of that fight. They didn't have any like incredibly valuable units, but yeah, that's not bad. Some XP for Valmir, who is going to end up being a pretty important part of our game. Now, unfortunately, we can't really pursue these guys out of the settlement because Valmir's army is tiny. We did get a hostility increase there, which is probably a good thing. What are we going to pick up on you now? You have... probably not Circle of Protection. It might just be Redline stuff. But at some point, it would probably be a good idea to get some Lord with Lightning Strike, and maybe we can build Valmir up into that guy. What does his special line do? So, big reload time reduction for himself. Cooldown down on the arrow thing, that's cool. Big missile. I mean, you do not have to spend a lot of skill points in this line to get pretty big benefit. Okay, that's a pretty cool aura. And then the Quiver of Akshi replaces the arrow with a more explosive-y version of the thing. Probably even more, I'm guessing from the name, probably there's some multi-shot going on in there. That's pretty cool. All that stuff seems really good. I think we're going to go ahead and push him along the yellow line. Or the blue line, rather, so that he can become a lightning strike guy. Interesting. Casualty replenishment rate way up for the Lord in this army. That's a weird skill for an archer. Be a lot better on a melee character. And eventually we can learn Headhunter, which is fine. Not amazing. Oh, look at this. Hold on, his yellow line is a little bit interesting. When it was scrolled all the way over here, I was just like, oh, this is all the normal, you get some armor, get some health, whatever. But it gets him access to some other stuff here. Imbues units with fire damage and also reload skill. And then eventually... what is the difference here? 33-second duration, 40 meters. Okay, it's a 50% increase in the duration without a change in the cooldown. So it's just up 50% more. That's pretty cool. That's really powerful. He's going to have a lot of cool skills to pick up after we get him to Lightning Strike, which we are totally doing. So what's left in this army? The source units are pretty busted.
Is it time?
We could grab a couple of instant recruit units right now and just press these dudes. It's like you can see, the steam tank has 633 gold per turn upkeep. We're going to have a rough go of it for a little while here financially while we're setting up the Northern Territories. I'm inclined to grab something and just finish the job. Like, let's take the handgunners. Let's take the halberds, maybe. I think, do we want the regiments of renown? We could grab these archers, I suppose. Archers are pretty bad outside of Marcus's army, though. Let's take all of those and then push these guys. I think we can probably kill them with this. It is a shame they are like just outside of reinforcement range. And our melee's in pretty bad shape. But we're not gonna, it's not gonna progress to that point. Let's take them.
Any last words?
And we'll auto-resolve, or we'll manually resolve just in case. The auto-resolve would have killed our meager swordsman force, because I think it totally might have. So we gotta watch out for those blowgun units. The poison from the blowguns, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but it does make our units feeble and bad at killing, and this is not a thing that we can afford in this situation. We have to be a little bit cautious with the guns. Gun units are very strong in general, but finicky. Oh, I do love to be fighting on a hillside, though. That's going to alleviate many of our issues. So the guns have a lot less range. We could just do this thing, because the archers can fire over people. And then we have 2 units of melee on one side, 2 units of melee on the other side. Probably actually swap these guys. Yeah, okay. I think that's reasonable. We should be able to get the thing done like this. Just let them approach us. It's a shame we don't get to take advantage of the fire weakness quite as powerfully here. I mean, there's not anything for us to do except wait. Okay, should see the first volleys going out, and we're going to see the enemy units break very quickly. Low health units panic and run with remarkable speed, except for this one apparently. Never mind, just trying to make me look like a fool. That has a really short range. I was going to use it to try to break up their movement speed. Let's focus you guys here. Their lord narrowly survived. Oh, they don't have a lord anymore. Sorry. If your army no longer has a lord, one of your units randomly gets promoted to leader. Usually one of your tougher melee units. So, do we want to have our huntsman focus on that? Probably, right? That's a unit of sources. I care about those guys. And the hero can, I guess, just go ahead and throw this somewhere. He can fire while moving, so it shouldn't be a big deal for him to run forward and just do something. Alright, and then blast those guys. And then we gotta give some actual orders to our melee troops here. We probably... This is going to be a little bit tricky, because as soon as we start getting into melee, the handgunners are going to lose their line of sight. The archers are still going to be able to arch pretty effectively. Oh, sorry, I didn't actually let him fire. Well, whatever. He'll get behind lines and he'll fire. His ability has a shorter... or a longer range than the throw, anyway. And the sources do not want to die. I mean, I knew they weren't going to give up, but I thought we could just kill them quickly.
I'm there.
Let's hit these guys with the flame arrow, actually. I know they're not the ones I gave the vulnerability to, but we do need to get rid of them. Huntsmen need to focus this way. We probably need to pull the handgunners back a little bit, because they are taking some melee damage. Can we... I wonder if they'll be able to just take that shot. It looks like they might be a little obstructed. We'll see if they're firing. These guys I'm going to pull back a little bit first. We are losing swordsmen on this side. I mean, we were going to lose some swordsmen. There was no way that was going to not
No
happen.
delays. Let's have ya. Die, scum.
Alright, fight some of those guys, I guess. Okay, the handgunners, they're shooting. They're doing something.
Huntsman. All right.
Come on.
Handgunners. In my sight.
Is he going to fire that or not?
On the hunt.
Not is the answer. He has elected to ignore my order. Alright, how about these guys? They're a little further away. Don't really have a lot of melee on this side.
Handgunners. Huntsman.
Okay, he did finally shoot the thing.
Handgunners.
I'm surprised at how much we are not killing them.
Loaded, sir.
Okay. These 2 units of huntsmen need to finish the job. You guys need to, like, fall way back. And I am tempted to have our lord just get into melee? Hey, how are your melee stats? 43 attack, 40... Honestly, it's not terrible. Somebody has to stop these red-crested skinks from running forward, and we don't have a ton of melee available on this side of the battle. And then I think what we want to do with these gunners is probably turn them. I'm going to have the archers move out of the way. Okay. We can turn our gun line around here and shoot at these guys as they chase our various ranged units around. Okay. Gonna have to shoot those guys first. It's not entirely ideal. But the Sauruses have to die.
Finding range, sir. At
Guys
speed.
have got to get out of there because you're blocking the gunners.
Formation, march. Taking position.
I mean, our lord's holding up okay for the moment. Yeah, I was really expecting our troops to just chop these skinks up because they're skinks and they're not, you know, good at fighting. No such luck.
I Ulrich rock.
Our lord is defeating the other guys. The rampage is worn off, so now they're vulnerable to panic.
Our weapons are yours.
Alright, let's create ourselves a nice concave.
For Sigma, fire.
Yeah, and our lord's got it under control.
In range. Huntsman.
Okay, this should properly kill their army. Just making sure we finish the job. We can, as long as our units survive, and it looks like we probably did lose this one. As long as our units survive, we're falling back to a friendly settlement and replenishing. We're not in any real danger here, and we wanted to sit and recruit for a turn anyway. And I wanted to first of all make sure these guys are popped so they can't show up as reinforcements, and secondly wring any gold that was left in them out of them. I'm pretty pleased with the way that went overall. We took more damage here than I thought we were going to, but that first battle went really well.
Always have the upper
Oh,
hand.
it looks like they held out.
Any last words? A deserved promotion.
Okay, and I mean XP as well.
The land
That is
provides.
a benefit.
Huntsman General.
Alright, thanks to all of our casualty replenishment rate boosts, we'll be an army again in no time. And let's use some of that money. I think we're just going to grab 3 more huntsmen and then go sailing. We're not going to hang around here any longer. And who knows? We may not be so lucky with the next group of lizardmen, but that should at least keep that territory alive for a little while. Alright, we'll probably go ahead and kill the vampires on this turn. I don't want to mess around with them too much. I wanted to make sure that they, first of all, drew off some of the malcontents, and secondly, that their army got valuable. But we don't want to hold out so long that they become an actual danger to us. Because if you let a rebel army build up for long enough, they will get big enough to cause trouble. Drowned are still looking weaker than we are, which is a good sign. Like I said, we may have accidentally blown up their economy by taking their only port. So they might find themselves in a position where they can't field a large army, or like even a full-sized stack of weak units. And if we've done that to them, then our victory is a foregone conclusion. It's just a matter of time. I wish I could say that I was smart enough to have made that choice on purpose, you know? Hard to imagine, though, that a pirate empire like that would only have one port. Public order down, but growth up and recruitment costs down. I think that the growth up in Grey Rock Point is okay. It's about to be max population size. I think I'm just going to do nothing on this one.
Huntsman of the Empire.
Because, yeah, next turn, it's already the case that next turn Grey Rock Point hits maximum size. If we demolish this right now, it will... when you press the demolish button, it doesn't demolish the building immediately. It demolishes it at the beginning of the next turn, but it does it before growth comes in. So if we demolish this now to make room, we won't hit 2 population next turn. So we gotta leave that for one more turn. Karl von Zenger is going to get Life Bloom, and then it's probably time to go after this. Yeah, right now this is still a pretty weak army. But it's large enough that we can make some decent money off of them, probably. Oh, and I guess we can just auto-resolve the battle? How much money do we make there? It looks like it was not much. Okay, 800, that's not bad. And like we were talking about, undead armies don't have survivors. Their units don't flee, they just explode when they get low on health. Boy, we sure do get a lot of followers. Just constantly, tons of followers. Alright, big move speed bonus for the Paladin. It's a shame this Paladin never gets a horse. He'd be really useful on horseback.
Time will tell on this one.
Okay, we need to spend one more point in the previous group before we get this. Is it plus range? No, it's probably ammunition for the entire army. That seems pretty sensible. So right now we're at no public order loss as long as we're still in the province. If we want to move out and attack... Yeah, we probably can't afford to leave. Unfortunately, we're going to have to sit here and hold Grey Rock Point down until the secondary army arrives, and then they can hold Grey Rock Point down. Speaking of, the secondary army.
Huntsman General.
And they can grab a naval point of interest or 2 on the way up. Probably just this one, because I don't really want them to be very long. I need to get over here. Who has a skill point? Oh, Andreas has a skill point. Do we want to max out Soul Blight? I do think it's pretty good. I think at this point, Andreas probably just sails back out, and we'll sail over around the east coast of Ulthuan. Maybe there are some more factions to meet over there. Some more people who would like to say hello to us and trade us all of their wonderful goods. And then that's it, huh? I feel like there was something else I was gonna do. Well, I don't know what it was. Oh, we should see if we can get a non-aggression pact out of the Lore Masters. And you know what? Military access too, sure. Okay, it would be really cool if Calidor would find themselves a port. But on the whole, I think our position's pretty good now. If we lose those southern settlements before we really establish, we're going to probably have to fire a bunch of units. But for a little while here, we can maintain ourselves off of income from winning battles and raiding. You know, you don't actually have to be positive on cash income at all times. It looks like we broke Axolotl down pretty badly by winning that battle. They seem to be about as strong as we are, which means not even 2 armies. And actually, each army of Hexawaddles counts for more than ours do, because the game considers their units to be very strong. So probably the fact that their bar is the bar is evenly split between us means they have 1 stack. That would be my guess. Oh hey, Robert's back. He does have the power to assassinate heroes, and we have a stack full of characters. So I'm not very happy to see him, and I'm especially not happy to see him without our witch hunter to put him back down. The New World colonies over here just shuffle in deck chairs. Strategy? What's strategy? This is a super weird thing, that there's just a vampire fleet harassing Ulthuan and being allowed to survive doing so. I don't understand that at all. Alright, let's start with Andreas, because his turn's pretty simple. What is this? Oh, that is a vampire pirate faction. That's interesting. The Pirates of Sartosa. I guess I don't actually know where they start on this map. I've only seen the pirate factions on the big map.
Okay.
So maybe the Pirates of Sartosa start over there. Show me 1,500 gold or so. You know what? We'll take Perform Better on Campaign. I don't think his army's going to get involved in battle a lot in the near future. Okay, that doesn't really do anything for us. And the Wailing Banner could be assigned to a unit to cause them to cause fear and terror. In the situation we're in, that's actually kind of interesting. Almost all undead units cause fear and or terror. Which means that any unit that causes fear is immune to fear, but it goes the same for us, right? So equipping the Wailing Banner on one of our melee units will make it immune to the fear effect of the undead units that it's fighting. So they're definitely going to make landfall next turn. I guess I don't really want to go anywhere, though, because we want to do a unit transfer, right? So I guess we don't go anywhere. What we do, though, is this and this. Alright, so Grey Rock Point will have some building slots in it. We can't really afford to put a, sadly, we can't really afford to put a garrison structure there. What we probably want to do is go, like, recruitment structure and then also a marble cutter. So we can throw the marble in and start increasing the value of our trade routes. Because we're super broke. We're, like, mega broke. We kind of can't even afford to do this right now. Yeah, that's gonna have to wait until we can secure some other income. Well, that's not ideal. Demolishing the field building in Grey Rock Point will actually give us some of the money that we spent to build it back, so that'll give us a little bit more to float on. But yeah, that's worrying. We're poorer than I wanted. Hopefully, one of those Empire Lords will come through with another payment of 5,000 gold. Seen that happen a couple of times. It'd be really nice for it to happen again. And unfortunately, our army is probably not going to be able to move very much, given the amount of movement that the units from the boat are going to spend before they get transferred into the new army. So we're still actually pretty far away from being able to attack the drowned. And obviously, it's better for us to move sooner while they're still feeling weak, but I guess if they were going to recruit more units, they would have done it already. Their economy just must just be in tatters.
We have nothing to fear.
Oh, thank God, an elector has pledged aid. He sent us a rogue to increase the assassination chance of our guy once our guy comes back.
Only the dedicated.
Alright, Marcus has leveled up, and how many things do we have to spend before we get this? We have to spend 2 points in the previous group to give the entire army Vanguard deployment and also make them immune to fear. That's, man, a whole army being immune to fear is pretty powerful. So we're about to get some huntsmen. I'm wondering if we want to do this. or if maybe since we're about to get huntsmen, maybe this is a good time to take telescopic aim, let them benefit from the sundering attacks. Let's get sleight of hand. Sleight of hand seems really good.
How to proceed?
I guess sleight of hand seems really good based on my guess about what it means. we don't actually know the gameplay effects of double shot ammunition. Like, it's reasonable to assume, of course, that it means there's 2 projectiles per shot, but we don't know if it has any additional effects, like maybe it splits the damage from the normal attack over the 2 projectiles or something like that. Right, Grey Rock Point is okay. We are taxed. We're doing our best. So the marble building would give us 100 flat income plus marble into our trade routes. We must build it. It must be gotten. And then we'll have Marcus trade units here. So how do we want to do this?
I always get my target.
It might just be straight up crossbowmen out, huntsmen in. And then what I would really like to do, and of course that has helped our cash because the huntsmen have much lower upkeep in Marcus's army. And then we could also fire some of our spearmen and bring in some of these fancy units. We should at the very least get this. The steam tank costs as much as like 5 units, a little bit more than 5 units of spearmen together though. We might have to hold off. I hate doing that. Like, we should have siege. We need a mortar. I'll both these units of mortars really badly.
The dead make
Okay,
atrocious
let's... The thing is, if we stay where we're at right now, positive on income, we can start the coastal town upgrade right now. Get access to that extra building slot. A real garrison, a wall. Well, no, sorry, you don't get a wall. We'd have to build the garrison building for that. But, you know, a real garrison, like there's an Empire captain in there and everything. I think we have to do this. We have to just be chill on the money for a moment. Okay, Elisalia is held by another elf faction, Kothik. We haven't negotiated with those guys yet. They should like us just fine.
Sit and state your business.
Once we have the marble building up, we're going to see our income increase pretty sharply. Like right now, trade is bringing in 500 gold per turn. Let's play until we get the marble building finished, and then we'll call it for this episode. I just want to see what the actual immediate difference is to our trade income. Oh, I forgot to have. I was going to have Marcus move. You know, get further into enemy territory. With the army he has right now, he is probably capable of challenging the thing, the whatever half stack it is that Silostra is fielding. We might not be able to take her out in a settlement, but we have all that ambush skill. We can potentially draw her into something foolish by not letting her know where we are. We can also just raid outside of her settlements and make it so that she has to either come out and fight us or we can just continue to get paid and fix our army and then fight her with a better army. We might have to forego for the moment, depending on how the trade income actually works out, we might have to forego a recruitment building locally and instead put an industry building in that slot. But if we can get to a place where we can support a stack and a half, and we can actively push, we're not in anywhere near as much danger here. Like once we get the corruption and public order problem solved, we can probably leave that settlement unguarded. It's not like people are going to be attacking us from all sides like they are down south. So I'm feeling like we're going to be able to kill Silostra without too much trouble. I just have to be wary of like overextension.
One wrong move and we sink their eldritch galleons.
It's my war to lose, you know what I mean?
Marcus Wolfhart.
Okay, Marcus, buddy. Why don't we... We're just going to creep for a moment here. We're going to move half of our allowed distance, replenish back up to full, and then we'll figure stuff out. Also, our man has reappeared. He does not have the money to execute Robert Barthélemy, unfortunately, and Robert might pull that move on him instead, so let's just have him run.
Witches.
Listen.
We may lose a unit or two temporarily. Elisali is getting beat up, it looks like. Yeah, you know, the elf factions, there's always a big elf civil war. They're at war with... They sure are.
Cultured or otherwise.
Is my trade agreement with Kothik screwing things up with the other guys? Okay, they don't love it, but it's not going to draw us down below 90 reputation. And then it looks like we have been introduced to the rest of Ulthuan somehow, despite the fact that we don't actually have vision up there. Can we talk to these guys? No, we haven't formally met yet. Okay. We will make our negotiations with the final High Elf nation next turn, I guess. I'm very curious what their paladin's going to do. If it were me controlling him, he would run after Marcus's army and start trying to snipe the heroes out of it. And the thing is, that's a frustrating tactic that we are, in theory, in position to defend against, because we have our own assassination agent in the area, but I'm so broke. That's alright, the marble building will be done soon. I'm not expecting to see the trade income kick in until the turn after it's finished, though, because a lot of stuff does not get dynamically recalculated. Absolutely not. It's good that she's asking, though. That means she's afraid. The fact that she's afraid does not necessarily mean we can beat her, because, as we've seen, the all AI combat is handled by the auto-resolver, so they're vulnerable to the places where the auto-resolver does not reflect real battle tactics. It's part of the reason that it's like impossible to get lizardmen to go to peace with you, because they always think they're winning, even when they're clearly not. I think in the case of the Vampire Coast, the auto-resolver is, like, pretty reasonable. No matter your dominance of the realms, there will always also be creatures that prowl the forests or roam the plains. One of these beasts is attacking and feeding upon your people. Oh no, my growth. Also, we're getting a lot of level ups just standing around, which I really appreciate. Okay, so what do we want here? Earthblood is just a big AoE heal, and of course when we cast it, it also triggers this other AoE heal, so obviously there's some value to that. Shield of Thorns gives physical resistance. This is important because a lot of the guns in the pirate army have armor piercing, so this will allow us to survive volleys a little bit better. Or we could just go 60 armor. I think this is probably a worse play against vampire pirates than this is. But the real question is, do you want to just mash heal constantly? Let's take Shield of Thorns. It also does give the big weapon damage boost.
They are no match for the Hunts Marshal's troops. Yes.
You know what? If we've broken their economy as badly as it seems like we might have, they might not be able to assassinate me either. That might be what's happening here.
What?
Our units can run along and like make mean dog faces at each other, but that's about it. So what does she have? It's the same it's the same army as before, but she's hired a mortar, basically. I mean, it's a mortar. It does the mortar thing, so it's not a bad unit, certainly.
Monster Hunter.
Our building is finished. Are we seeing the trade effect yet? Maybe. Yeah, maybe that 211 is all that we're going to get out of it. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see the effect actually kick in until the second turn, though. So for right now, we can just keep doing the creep move.
Move, comrades.
Oh, look at this! We've gotten our side of this thing so untainted that we're no longer actively being murdered by the ground. How much movement do we have? We have to have 50 movement left to go into raiding stance, so I will not be able to get across the border. Yeah, we'll be at 47% when we cross the border. That's a real shame. Okay, I guess we can just chill out right here for the turn. Stealthily.
Voyaging.
It's a shame heroes can't pick up the naval points of interest. It'd be really nice to have him able to gather that stuff for us. Can we talk to you yet? No. If we could, double-clicking on their flag would do it. Okay, well, let's go to the beginning of the next turn and see. I was kind of hoping that it was going to be a larger amount of money than that. Not that I'm turning up my nose at anything at all at this point. We're in a place where, like, 5s and 10s actually matter a whole lot. Okay, all the elves are going to war with all the vampire pirates. It looks like we're about to lose the Temple of Tlinkon, which is not ideal. That particular lord that we see pushing the city there, that's the legendary lord of Hexoatl. He is terrifying. We can have a look at that army, but my guess is that we are not going to be able to withstand them. My real hope here is that... it didn't happen. I was hoping that because our army was not visible, they might think it was possible for them to run over and grab Grey Rock Point back, and they'd run out of their settlement. If we can catch that army outside the settlement, we can kill them, and then they will not have time to regenerate. They will not have time to build a new stack before we take all of their territory. If they're not going to come out of there, our plan might have to be to, like, sail around and hit their other settlements. We probably have a large enough garrison back home with the secondary army that we could resist if they tried to just base race us. Our coffers are empty. Oh, right, because one of our settlements is being sieged. That settlement is not producing more money. Your lack of military activity has caused enemy animosity to drop. Can you imagine? Scandal. Okay, well, we're just going to have to fire some units from this army until we get back above. Oh, right, and because that's our capital, we're no longer getting any trade value at all. That's actually a big problem. Okay, he has Sacred Croxagores and Saurus Spears. One way we could resolve this quickly is we could just have the garrison of the Temple of Tlinkon attack him. If they lose, then this will no longer be our capital, and we'll have trade again. It's kind of a silly way to go about it. We would lose 500 and 600 income by doing that, but we'd get all of our trade income back. Just, I mean, it's not a huge benefit. Yeah, I think we might have to do that just because, like, getting our trade back online is our only chance, but it's not going to immediately solve the problem. Well, this is a problem that we can ponder tomorrow, because that is going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time to see how we deal with these treacherous lizardmen and these treacherous vampire pirates, and then all of the other treacherous peoples of the world after them. And we'll see you then.